Okay, y'all, I had to put these reading glasses on because this past week has been a lot. I have, and one of the things I do, I kind of tend to be around a lot of young children. And I, by accident, ended up having to do some work at a location where there were a lot of young girls that were expecting. And so we had conversations and stuff like that. And one of the number one things that I noticed a lot of them were saying is that, and I would ask, I was like, oh, so how's the baby's father? What's going on with the baby daddy? Or your baby's father, because I hate to say baby daddy, but your daughter, your child's father. And then they would just keep it a buck with me and be like, hey, girl, I don't know. I'm not sure, who my dad or the child's father is and things like that. And I was telling them, I was like, do you have an ideal? Is there like one, two, three, two, what have you? Because I just keep it a buck with them because, they're young. I'm talking 18-year-olds still in school and they're in a certain program to help them graduate. And I'm like one of those advocates to tell them to get little young teens to stay in school and graduate. Don't go get out and then say, oh, I'm going to come back. Because once you get out, it's just like in anything, once you get out, you'll be like, okay, well, I'll go back one day. I'll go back one day. Then you end up getting a GED. And I'm like, no, nothing is the same as getting your actual high school diploma, like straight up even if it's not with your class and it's a little later, but it's not the same like that. So I said it's still an achievement, but it just don't feel the same. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. What this video is more about is a lot of people, not just our young people, that are having children with and not knowing who their child's father is. So one of the things I was telling them is that I'm a staunch advocate for is paternity tests. I'm like, I'm sorry, out here in this world, men go out there, they have they multiple partners, and it's nothing. There has always been a stigma on women when they say women have multiple partners. And it's like, oh, they're this, they're the HO or whatever like that. But men are considered a man. And I'm like, so what? You have to think in that moment, you're thinking about your child. So I am an advocate and a staunch supporter that, and like I was telling them all, when you go in to have your child, they're going to ask you, do you want a DNA test? And you tell them, absolutely. I said, don't worry about if whoever your one of the alleged fathers is there and you're like, let them know in advance. Yeah, you may be. It's you and a possible five other or two other or one other or whatever. I said, because if you out there like that, own it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed in this country. There's so many women going in having children, even older women, even women who are married, going in having children. And I think what made me think about it was I knew it was going on, but I was watching Maternity Court with Judge Lake. I think her name is Lake. And I've been watching like Karamo and shows like that with DNA. And I'm like, there is no excuse for someone being in their 40s trying to find out who their father is. You know what I mean? Or in their 50s trying to find out who their parent is. And I just don't think it's right. I think that is it's unnecessary, and it is what you would call selfish on a parent because you was in those streets and you was having fun. You may have been young, living your best life. So what? Don't leave your child to wonder one day who they truly are because you are afraid to fess up to your actions. Okay? And that's why I say it to my women. So what? When you have those children, if you're not 1,000% sure that during that period of time that is your child's father, then you need to tell them you need a DNA test. Don't name your child after some Tom, Joe, Boo, whoever, and you're not sure who their father is. And I can't say who the mom is because, the mom is the mom. But I'm telling you, and I'm speaking to these ladies out here and all these grown women out here having to go on these shows because your kids or your children, or see children, don't know who their dads are. There are too many children I'm seeing in the school system and counseling that are out here in these streets that do not know who their fathers are, who have grown up with fathers with last names of men who are not their fathers because you were negligent and you worry more about yourself and you didn't tell them the truth or you didn't get that DNA test when they will do it for you right at the hospital when you have your child. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a celebration. Well, guess what, girlfriend? Yeah, it's a celebration, But don't forget, you don't know. And yeah, I know sometimes you want to be like, no, but I don't want to lose my boo. Well, guess what? Later down the line, if your child needs a blood draw, if your child needs anything, you never know what can happen. Your child may end up down the line being 18 years old or 16, 17 years old and be out here in these streets dating and end up dating their brother or dating their cousin because you didn't think it was important for them to know. You can see my passion on this subject. Okay? I'm telling you, I think it was at least 22 girls in the last 2 weeks that I've come across that have had multiple partners and literally are pregnant. And they don't know who their child's father is. And I told them, get a DNA test. If you don't do anything for your child in this life, get a DNA test. I don't care if it's 10 people. You tell them. And if you're going to go try to run for child support, don't be going after men. And that was another thing. You're going and you're telling the court that this person is my child's father and the court is serving them with child support papers and court ordered child support. And then because they don't show up for court, they're considered, it's like automatic. They're considered the father because they didn't show up. And then later they take a DNA test and find out they're not the father. Because you, as the mother, didn't own up to what you were doing. This is a new time and age, ladies. It don't matter if you're in these streets. If you want to be in these streets, be in these streets. You grown. Do you. Have fun. Turn up. And even as a grown adult, if you're going to be out in these streets, be out in these streets, but own what you're doing. Don't make your children suffer for your mistakes. Because every child needs their father. Every child needs parents, even if you're not together with their parent. Every child especially girls need to know who their fathers are. They need to know, and that father needs to be given a chance to be in that child's life. That don't mean they need to be with you. And don't hold that child like a hostage from their parent, father, because the father don't want to be with you no more or has moved on to a new girl. That child needs to know. I'm telling you. After this week, I was trying to decide if I wanted to make this video, but I am telling you, my heart broke for those young women because I've seen it happen in my family, people finding out later in age who their fathers are. And I'm telling you from experience, it literally, like not knowing for sure, it literally will make you like the person you thought was your father. You're like, oh, I love this man. I love this man. And then all of a sudden you're like distance from that person. And then later in age, you find out they're saying, no, this is your father. And then you find out, no, that person was really not your father. You can take a test and find out the person you distance yourself was your father. Do you understand the guilt, the pain and suffering that can come with that? Trust and understand. Or your child, you name your child after somebody, full name, last name, everything. And then you go and check DNA because they need a blood draw or something like that. And they say, oh, I'm sorry, they can't donate. And they're like, no, I want to donate to my daughter. No, or my son. No, I can't. You can't. And they have to pull you aside and tell you the reason why is because they're not the father. How do you square that? Your child's full name is their name down the line. Yeah. And I know multiple people have done that. I've seen it. When I used to work with the Department of Child Support and Enforcement, I used to see it all the time. And it broke my heart. And then when the kids get older, they don't hate the father. They end up hating the mother for doing that to them because you couldn't pull up your big girl panties and say, you know what? I did this. I'm going to own it. So what? Oh, well, there's not that much love in the world. Your child should be your first love. Not a man, not anyone else, but your child. Make sure you're doing right by your children. If you're pregnant and you're out here in the United States and you're been with multiple partners, get a DNA test, okay? That's what this video is about. Because there are too many people suffering right now. Kids not knowing who their moms are, who their pops are because you didn't do the right thing. All right? But y'all have a great day. Stay blessed and take care of yourself.